I'm April from Still Local, and this is my son Asher. This week we're going to make this super cute, adorable purple llama. The original pattern is from craftyquilter.com, and we are going to show you how to make this guy today. We're using minky fleece, so it's super soft and snuggly, as well as wool felt and a bit of embroidery floss. And then we have our polyfill stuffing for inside. Some tools that we're going to use are pins, paper scissors, fabric scissors, something to mark your opening with, and a glue stick if you have one, so that we can glue the felt in place before we sew it. We're going to start cutting out our felt pieces first. Now that we have all of our felt pieces cut out, we're going to move those aside and cut out the body of the llama. So we have our minky fabric folded in half. We have one really soft, more plush side. That's the side that's going to be the outside of our llama later on. There we go. So we're just going to pin this in place and cut it out after. So I've taken all the pieces and kind of laid them out to see what the llama is going to look like. We are going to draw the nose and mouth onto our felt. I'm just looking at this one and eyeballing it. I'm cutting an arm's length up to your elbow and then separating the floss. I have 3 strands of floss, a knot on the end, and a little tail that's a couple of inches long here. And we're going to do a back stitch. We're going to start ahead 1 stitch length, and then come back towards the beginning. And the same thing again. Just using water to get off the blue marker that we use. It's a sewing marker, so it disappears with water. There we go. So we're going to glue these pieces down in place, and then we are going to head over to the sewing machine and sew them. And you're going to want the pieces to be at least a little bit up from the edge, so that when you're sewing the gray piece onto your purple fabric, you have some room to do that. I'm going to lengthen my stitch a little bit to a 3. You don't have to do this step, but I just like the way it looks. Then we're going to sew all the way around this oval shape, pretty close to the edge. For the eyes, we're going to go nice and close to the edge, and you're going to go really slow making sure your needle's down when you're turning. So you're just gonna go 1 or 2 stitches, and then you're gonna lift up your presser foot, keep your needle in, and turn your fabric. Now it's time to sew our ears and our legs together. We're just going to pin them in place first. And these are getting sewn and they're not being turned or anything, so you can sew all the way around. Okay, so we have these all finished. We're going to pin them in place now. In order to find where they fit nicely, we're going to take our pattern and lay it on here. I'm just going to flip this over. I can see the legs go here. And then we have our next one here. Our llama is coming together. It's looking so cute. Okay, so we are going to mark where we're leaving our opening. So these two go right sides together. We keep the ears and the legs tucked in. So this is going to be our no-sew zone, so we can turn the llama right side out and stuff it after. Now we're going to pin this together, and we're going to sew starting at one of these lines and sew all the way around the edge with a 1/4 inch seam allowance until we get to the next one. So I have it all pinned with about 1,000,000 pins, way more than I would normally put, because the fabric's a little bit slippery. And also I was really careful to go around the entire thing and make those edges line up with each other. Because our seam allowance is not that big, we don't want to sew here and then miss the other side. And we don't want to have a really big seam allowance, because when you turn this right side out, you'll have a very, very, very narrow llama. So we're going to try and go for 1/4 inch all the way around, but like I said, it's really important that your top and bottom fabrics are matching. Now we're just gonna go and check really quickly to make sure there's no holes, so we didn't miss the other side. Then we'll turn it right side out and stuff it. Holy cuteness. Okay, so I'm going to use the skewer again to poke all the way around the edge. And then when you sew minky or other fleece fabrics, the fabric can get caught down in the seam. So I'll usually go over it with a skewer just to make sure that the little edges of the fabric are out from the seam. I don't know if you can tell, maybe right here you can see better. So you can see it's all flat in here, and I would just take this and go over the edge, and it'll pull the fibers out from the seam a little bit. So you're gonna wanna put your stuffing all the way to the edge first, in the head and the tail. So our llama is all stuffed. It's stuffed pretty firmly. That's because it does soften up over time. Now we're gonna close this up using a ladder stitch. So I have a needle and thread. The thread is doubled with a knot on the end. I'm gonna start a little bit above the hole, coming up from the inside so our knot is hidden inside. And then we're gonna go up one side, and then we kind of cross over here to this side in the same spot so that you have a rung of a ladder with the thread. And every few stitches we'll pull tight.